Hi again, everybody. Here's your paper news 24/7, the video edition for Tuesday, March 18th, 2014. I'm Frank Phillips reporting. Wabash College was the scene of a spirited conversation, quote unquote, among Democrats Monday night.
Democratic Club and the Democratic Central Committee, we combined the two, and we invited the 5 candidates running for the Democratic nomination for 4th District Congress to share their stories and tell us why they were running and what they offered, and we had a spirited conversation. I think the Democrats in the 4th District have real number of options available to them. So I was pleased that they laid it all out on the table and we could see what they have to offer.
In the order they spoke, the candidates were Jeff Blades of Greencastle, John Dale of Lafayette, Roger Day of Avon, John Futrell of Brownsburg, and Howard Polchek of Crawfordsville. Each of the candidates had 5 minutes to present themselves to the group of 25 gathered in room 114 of Baxter Hall. All of them had 2 things in common. They are Democrats, and they want to defeat Todd Rokita in November. Beyond that, they came from a variety of backgrounds. Blades was born in Crawfordsville and raised in Rochdale. He quit teaching to work for CSX Railroad. His main point was the need to rebuild local infrastructure and schools while getting the national budget under control. Dale teaches social studies at Western Boone and favors strong unions. He said unions give a voice to the people. Day described himself as a progressive. Therein lies the future of the Democratic Party, he said. He said he wrote part of the Affordable Care Act, commonly called Obamacare. I'm tired of losing, he said. I'm tired of ignorant people running our country. Futrell also described himself as a progressive Democrat, but that was where the similarities with Day ended. Futrell talked about the 22 suicides he said take place among men and women of the military each day. That's a governmental issue, he said. It's time for us to stand up for our soldiers. Howard Polchek distinguished himself from Day and Futrell, who spoke before him. I am a conservative Democrat, he said. We live in a conservative district, and we need to get things done in Washington. Polchek, a Crawfordsville resident for about 18 months now, said he helped elect the first Democrat in Orange County, California, and he held office in Tennessee when he lived there. During a question and answer session, Day and Futrell began shouting at one another over differences of opinion about what is important in the campaign. Day accused Futrell of campaigning for revenge, and Futrell responded, "You're no Democrat." Futrell said he was not campaigning for revenge, but for what he deserved after serving in a combat zone in Iraq, and for a better life for the military personnel, which they deserve. The shouting match was broken up by David Hadley, who pointed his finger and shouted, "That's enough! Stop it!" The meeting was chaired by Democratic Party Club Vice President Don Swearingen. After the candidates had spoken, Swearingen emphasized the importance of running for office. He said it has been 19 years since Democrats had a full slate of candidates for city offices in Crawfordsville, and it is time local Democrats run a full slate of candidates for county offices. But that's not easy. Swearingen also had a warning for voters about the Tea Party. He said the current Montgomery County Republican office holders, quote, are conservative and open-minded, but if those conservatives get defeated in the primary and there's nobody with some common sense and common ground to run this fall, we're in a heap of hurts in Montgomery County. State Representative Tim Brown, Republican from Crawfordsville, said Monday he was happy the General Assembly could get some positive things done in the session that ended last week. We started reform of business personal property tax, he said, adding a blue ribbon commission will be formed to be sure everyone's interests are protected. Business personal property tax is placed on all the equipment and other possessions of a business, with the exception of real estate and buildings. Governor Mike Pence had asked the legislature to put an end to business personal property tax. Local government officials were quite concerned about that, Brown said. Since the state Supreme Court mandated a change in the way real estate is valued, and after caps were put on real estate, elected officials across the state have struggled with decreasing tax revenues to provide services they feel are necessary. To end business personal property tax would have made it more difficult to stretch the tax revenues officials have to work with. SB 1, the bill that was passed this year, makes reform of business personal property tax largely voluntary in each county. Brown was also pleased with the passage of HB 1002 that provides some funding for major projects, such as widening interstates. We were faced with the question, do we spend the money now or wait 6 years and face higher labor and other construction costs, Brown said. The legislature decided to use $400 million now and see if an additional $400 million is available in the future. Brown, who is a physician, said he was concerned HB 1004 was dead early in the session. That bill provides $9 million for a test project in 5 counties. The money will have to come from existing state revenues. It cannot be from new taxes. The purpose is to see if funding preschool for underprivileged children will help them do better when they get into kindergarten. Educators have expressed concern that too many children are not ready for kindergarten and lack verbal and other skills. We asked Brown for his thoughts on Indiana's practice of having a short session followed by a long session the following year. He said he thought the system works pretty well. Even though this takes up a lot of our time, we have to go home and live under the same rules we pass, he said. We might get into trouble if our sessions went too long. Well, that's about it for us. We have a lot more information for you on these and other stories. Please click around and see all of the links we have. Also, remember, we have that AccuWeather forecast for you in the upper right-hand corner of this page. For the Paper News 24/7, the video edition, I'm Frank Phillips reporting. You just have an outstanding day, and I'll see you tomorrow morning on the radio.